It was a long, long list, but Mr. Stink listened intently to everything she said as jolly Christmas songs played in the background. For someone who spent every day with only a little black dog for company, he was surprisingly full of wisdom. In fact, he seemed to relish the opportunity to listen and talk and help. People didn't really stop to talk to Mr. Stink, but he seemed pleased to be having a proper conversation for once. He told Chloe, "Tell your mother how you feel. I'm sure she loves you and she would hate you to be unhappy. And try and find something fun you can do with your sister. And why not talk to your dad about how you feel?" Finally, Chloe told Mr. Stink about how Mother had ripped her vampire story to shreds. She had to try very hard not to cry. "That's terrible, child," said Mr. Stink. "You must have been devastated." "I hate her," said Chloe. "I hate my mother." "You shouldn't say that," said Mr. Stink. "But I do." "You're very angry with her, of course, but she loves you, even if she finds it hard to show it." "Maybe," Chloe shrugged. But having talked everything through, she felt a little calmer now. "Thank you very much for listening to me," she said. "I just hate to see a little girl like you looking so sad," said Mr. Stink. "I may be old, but I can remember what it was like to be young. I just hope I helped a little." "You helped a lot." Mr. Stink smiled before letting the last sludge of his volcanic gulp slip down his throat. "Delicious. Now, we'd better leave some money for our beverages." He searched around in his pocket for some. "Oh, bother, I can't read the board without my spectacles. I'll leave 6 pence. That should be enough. And a tip. They'll be pleased with that. They can treat themselves to one of those new video cassettes. Right, I think we'd better be heading home now, young lady." The rain had stopped when they left the coffee shop. They walked down the road past all the cars. "Let's swap places," said Mr. Stink. "Why?" "Because a lady should always walk on the inside of the pavement and a gentleman on the outside." "Really?" said Chloe. "Why?" "Well," replied Mr. Stink, "the outside is more dangerous because there's more cars. But I believe it's originally because of the olden days. People used to throw the contents of their chamber pots out of the windows and into the gutter. The person on the outside was more likely to get spattered." "What's a chamber pot?" asked Chloe. "Well, I don't wish to be rude, but it's a kind of toilet." "Oh, that's gross. Did people do that when you were a boy?" Mr. Stink chuckled. "No, that was a little before my time, child. In the 16th century, in fact. Now, Miss Chloe." He demanded to swap places. The old world gunnery was so charming it made Chloe smile, and they changed places. They strolled side by side, passing the high street, shop after shop, all trying to herald the approach of Christmas louder than the next. After a few moments, Chloe saw Rosamond walking towards them with a small floretta of shopping bags. There she is. "Can we cross the road, please? Quickly," whispered Chloe anxiously. "Why, child? Whatever's the matter?" "It's that girl from school I told you about, Rosamond, the one who stuck the sign on my back. Look, that's her." "You need to stand up for her," pronounced Mr. Stink. "Let her be the one to cross over the road." "No, please don't say that," pleaded Chloe. "Who is that? Your new boyfriend?" laughed Rosamond. It wasn't a real laugh, like people do when they find something funny. "That's a lovely sound." This was a cruel laugh and an ugly sound. Chloe didn't say anything. She just looked down. "My daddy gave me £500 to buy myself whatever I wanted for Christmas," said Rosamond. "I brew the lot in Topshop." "Shame. You're too fat to get into any of those clothes." Chloe sighed. She was used to being hounded by Rosamond. "Why are you letting her talk to you like that, Chloe?" said Mr. Stink. What is it? Is that your granddad? Said Rosamond mockingly. Hanging around that smelly old tramp now? You are Chloe. You're magic. Now look. How long did it take you to put that sign on their back? She didn't find it, said Mr. Stink, slowly deliberating. I did, and I didn't find it amusing. Didn't you? Said Rosamond. All the other girls found it really funny. Well, then they're vile as you, said Mr. Stink. What? Said Rosamond. She wasn't used to being talked to like that. I said, then they are as vile as you, he repeated, even louder this time. You're a nasty little bully. Chloe looked so anxiously. She hated confrontation. To make matters worse, Rosamond took a pace forward and stood eye to eye with Mr. Stink. Say that to my face, you old stinker. For a moment, Mr. Stink fell silent. Then he opened his mouth and let out the deepest, darkest, dirtiest burp. Rosamond's face turned green. It was as if a tornado had engulfed her. It was the smell of coffee and sausages and rotten vegetables recovered from bins all rolled into one. Rosamond turned and ran, hurtling down the high street in such a panic that she dropped her Topshop bags on the way. That was so funny, laughed Chloe. I didn't mean to belch. I'm most polite. It was just the coffee repeating on me, dear me. Now, next time, I want to see you stand up for yourself, Miss Chloe. A bully can only make you feel bad about yourself if you let them. Okay, I'll try, said Chloe. So, see you tomorrow? If you really want to, he replied. I'd love to, and I would love to see you as well, he said. His eyes twinkled and twinkled as the last golden glow of sunlight splurted through the sky. At that moment, a 4x4 thundered past. Its giant tyres sloshed through a huge puddle by the bus stop, sending a wave that soaked Mr. Stink from dirty head to dirty foot. Water dripping from his glasses, he gave Chloe a little bow. And that, he said, is why a gentleman always walks on the outside. At least it wasn't a chamber pot, chuckled Chloe.